Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Kevin, principal here at Indogen Capital. For all of just a quick information that this shooting has followed a health protocol. So our great panelists, if you don't mind to open up the mask very quickly.
Sure, of course.
So in today's session, we'll be covering a lot about corporations and startups and how VC like Indogen Capital can play a role to bridge partnership between the two stakeholders. Today I'm accompanied by two great panels. Chandra Firmanto, the Managing Partners of Indogen Capitals.
Hi everyone.
And also Peter,
Hi,
CEO and co-founder of Wahyoo.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter. I'm the founder and CEO of Wahyoo Group.
So I think without further ado, why don't we kickstart this conversation by listening to each of you, sharing a bit about your background and how each of you make your way to the world of startup in the case of Peter and then to the world of venture in the case of Chandra. Who wanna take it first?
Yeah, so I think I let Pak Chandra first.
Oh, sure. Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Kevin, as well. So, hi everyone. My name is Chandra Firmanto. I'm the managing partners and founder of Indogen Capital. We are a Southeast Asia-based venture capital firms focusing on becoming the value-added partners for startups in the region. Our specialty is actually Indonesia market. We have really strong networks to the secondary and third-tier cities across Indonesia, and we have been helping our portfolio company actually to expand beyond Jakarta and greater area. And for today, I'm actually accompanied by Peter, the amazing founder of Wahyoo. And actually, I want to share a bit about why it is really great actually to work with Wahyoo. Before Indogen, actually my past experience, I actually handled my family business. So in my family business, we are doing tons of distributions for many products from Yamaha motorcycles, Unilever products, Mayura products, ice cream as well, Walls, Joy Day. We also doing other kind of distributions as well, like spare parts, oil as well. And we have about 150 networks of branches across Indonesia. From that experience, actually it made me kind of like understand the distribution business model, and I can see immediately the value of Wahyoo to be able to help the Indonesian corporations actually to distribute their products across Indonesia. And that's the reason why we want to set up this segment today. And for us, Indogen, we really want to be able to support our great founders like Peter. And by having these segmentations, I hope that you as viewers, or if you are from corporations watching, then you can see that actually it's going to be very beneficial for you actually to reach out to Peter and after this segment, and then maybe find ways to actually to collaborate with them. Okay, so maybe Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, Pak Chandra. You are so kind. Yes, thanks for the opportunity. So I started Wahyoo at 2017 actually. So to be honest, in this segment, I think I need to be honest with you guys that I started Wahyoo actually as a media placement company, as people can advertise their product and their poster brands inside our warung makan. That's actually my first objective because my background is actually in branding, advertising, marketing, and technology. And so this is very interesting because my thought is, okay, I started Wahyoo by searching how many warung makan in Indonesia, right? So I found out there are 35,000 warung makan in Jakarta area, right?
35,000.
So that's Jakarta only, right?
Amazing.
And then I talked with the warung makan owner like, hey, hello Bu, how many customer in a day? To be honest, they cannot answer because they don't have any data, right?
Yes.
And then they only answer me by, oh, okay, I spend like 10 kilogram of rice, something like that. So one day I spent like the whole day in warung to count like how many customers in a day, right? And then actually like a standard around like 75 to 100. So let's assume like 100, right? 100 customer in a day. So if there are 35,000 warung makan and one warung makan has like 100 customer a day, meaning like 3.5 potential customer for the brands. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So I imagine like, okay, so I think I need to share my findings about this facts, 3.5 million to brands, right? And then as you can see, the brand's response is very positive. Like,
Yes.
okay, so this is like a new channel. Usually they go to the general trade, they go to
Correct.
modern trade,
Modern market.
right? So this is something like it's untouchable, untapped. So they aware there are a lot of warung makan, but they never utilize that well. So that's the reason Wahyoo came as a placement for brands at the first place,
Oh, I see.
right?
Okay.
So but at the meantime, after we put all the brands in warung makan, we do interact with the warung makan owner, and warung makan owner so asked me like, "Pa Peter, why you always serve this coffee and tea only, right?" Because my early brand or clients was tea and coffee, right? At that moment, at 3 years ago, and then I asked, "Why? What do you need else, right?" And then, "Can you serve me rice? Can you serve me eggs, right?" And that's like, "What? Why do you want me to? Why do you want to buy eggs and rice from me, right? Because you can go to the fresh market, you can go to the wet market, right?"
Correct.
And then they say like, "Aduh Pa, you know, right? I need to wake up like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. Can you just like send me everything so I don't feel hassle and then need to go out, turn on my motorbike and bring all this heavy stuff?" Said, "Okay, wow, this is interesting. So I can serve all the raw material in my warung with a lot of brand categories, right? Not only like coffee, tea, but I can serve cooking oil. I can serve sugar. I can serve, even now we are focusing on chicken, fish, everything. So this is interesting. So yeah, just like Pak Chandra mentioned, this is an opportunity to cater the micro sector.
So you actually can get the brand to be out there, right? To be seen by the people.
Exactly.
And then, for example, if you want to give like free trial for them, so they can actually can taste the brand or maybe taste the product or maybe try it out first. So there will be like many things that you can do, right?
Exactly. That's actually what brands want to do in our outlet.
Yes.
If they wanna do market research, if they wanna do like launch new product, they can utilize us. Even they wanna know like how many products consumed by their customers, something like that. We can provide those data.
Amazing.
All right. Let me start with you, Peter, because you touch upon your segment a little bit. For those of you guys who doesn't know what warung makan is, it's actually it's sort of like an informal eateries segment in Indonesia. And there are more than, like Peter says, 35,000 informal eateries in Jakarta alone. But from the based on my latest research, there are actually millions, right, Peters, across Indonesia. So this is a very big segment. Micro segment has always been the backbone of Indonesian economy, but at the same time, it's a very big untapped opportunities. So you touch upon you are working with brands in the past 3 years since the establishment of Wahyoo. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience so far working with brands and corporations? Because in our understanding as a VC, corporations and startups tend to have different sort of like language, per se, because they have been, corporation as an incumbent player, they have been comfortable with their position in the market, while startups coming to the scene, and I mean, from the perspective of corporations, when startups come to them, it seems like the startups would like to take up some of their market shares. How do you communicate your value proposition to the corporations and sort of bridging that gap of sort of bridging that communication gap in order to create a very successful partnership. Can you share us a little bit about your experience so far?
Yeah, sure. So actually, we totally understand the strengths of the startup and also the strengths of big corporations, right? So I think the first thing that we need to underline is the objective. Like the objective for each companies and also startup, it must align, you know. So we know we know the objective of the big corporate that usually collaborate with us is they want to expand their market, right? And then they can utilize our channels. For us, I think to have big corporations as partners in our ecosystem, it's also strengthen our positioning as well. It can level up our image as well. So can you imagine, like 3 years our startup backed by Coca-Cola, such a giant company, like a global big brands company.
Yes.
It's give us a very strong image in the market as well. And I think, actually we can learn each other. Yeah. So from startup, we can learn about market educations, about knowledge, go-to-market strategy, something like that, you know, because I believe like big corporations, again, I need to mention about Coca-Cola since they are our shareholder as well. They have those data. They have those experience and market knowledge. That's something that's very valuable for us. Because if we want to do it ourselves, definitely we need a big budget to cooperate with a research agency, something like that. And we can get those knowledge, right? That's very valuable. And again, startup also related with scale up, right? Economic scale and then grow fast, you know. Of course, if we want to grow fast, you need to combine or collaborate with big company corporate that already everywhere. I think it's a part of how we can scale in the very efficient and also in a quick win, right? So I think if we want to have this like good synergy, of course, we need to be transparent. Like, what can you bring on the table? Yes. What is the objective, and how we can give an added value. So I think the bottom line is a win-win. The bottom line is a mutual synergy, mutual how we can giving added value to each of us.
Let me get to you a little bit, Chandra. As an investors, how do you think VC can play a very pivotal roles in terms of bridging this partnership between corporations and startups? Because you did mention that you had a lot of background doing traditional business before you start Indogen Capitals. How do you leverage your position in the market and bring that domain expertise to help startups and corporations get a successful partnership? How do you feel that VC can play a pivotal role?
For a very good successful startups like Peter and Wahyoo, right? They need beyond capital. Their needs is actually beyond capital. They actually need helps, right? In terms of connecting to brands, to corporations, because they have been doing great job, right, in expanding the more and more warung makan or eateries, right, in a very short period of time. So right now they have about 8,000, if I'm not mistaken, right, Peter? 8,000 eateries or warung makan in their ecosystem. So the task of handling these 8,000, right, fulfilling the supply chain, right, doing many other things with cooperation as well, such as helping with the market research, helping with the, for example, with the brand awareness, advertisement and everything. There are so many things to handle every day. That's why he has been very busy. I really appreciate that he spent time actually to do this segment, right? So he has been very busy. So the thing that he needs is beyond capital. So what we want to provide at Indogen is actually we want to help to bridge between corporations to them, right? Because from my past experience running my family business, doing distributions, we understand the pain from the corporation side. and we want to address the pains. The pain can be addressed through collaboration with startups. And from there then, I'm not bringing the startups actually to pitch you something, to sell you something, to get money from you. No. That is not the correct way. The correct way is we need to understand the pains of the corporations, then find solutions through startups. And that is the part where I'm super confident with Wahyoo. I really think that Wahyoo can solve many problems from corporations. For example, most corporations will need market data. They need to know the spending behavior, the customer's behavior, the preference, right? This maybe doesn't sound very important for everyone, but for corporations it is very valuable because they are competing constantly with their competitors. So they need to keep the edge from the competitions. In order to keep the edge, then they need to understand the change in customers' behavior. And going through this, the reason why they actually doing collaborations, say with Alfamart, Indomaret, right, which is the 7-Eleven of Indonesia, if maybe from foreign audience. So we have Alfamart and Indomaret. They have about 16,000 networks across Indonesia each, right? So combined is about 32,000. While Peter, just working in the Jakarta and greater area alone, right now, he has about 8,000 already, right? And then growing rapidly. So the reason why people want to work with Alfamart and Indomaret is because the convenience side, right? Where they can just go to one place and then get the arrangement for all 16,000 locations. Same thing for Wahyoo. You just come to Peter, then Peter arranges everything for you, 8,000 locations, very convenient, right? And then you can see whether you want to learn about the market research, whether you want to get awareness for your new product, whether you want to do a marketing campaign, launching campaign. So there are so many other things that maybe even we haven't thought about, right, Peter? Yeah. So please, let us know what you need in terms of pushing your brand to be more front, okay? That's my thinking, that's my experience. That's why as a traditional, I think the traditional approach for VC need to be maybe step up a bit in terms of bringing capital, maybe becoming a discussions partners for founders, okay? But we need more. They need more. They need more in terms of have a VC that working on the ground, sorting the needs of the corporations, letting them know that okay, these are the pains for this corporation, are the pains for that corporation, because it's going to be different. And from there then, when we connect to them, it's already very clear what we want to achieve with this corporation and with that corporation. That would be very helpful for a great founder like Peter.
I think just to add, Pak Chandra, yeah, I think it's very interesting that you mentioned about like how the companies or the brands came to us with their own objective using our networks.
Correct.
Sometimes it's coming from them because they know the pain problems, right?
Yes.
For example, like there's a one online delivery, right? Online ride hailing, let's say.
Right. Yes.
Ride hailing. They said, "Hey Peter, can I use your network to acquire new driver?" Because sometimes like they need the job, right? They need a job. They usually eat in our warung. Like say, "Okay,
right.
Peter, can you imagine if I can get a new driver for a new driver, and then your warung owner, we can give an incentive. Like for us, it's very happy.
Yeah.
And then, for example, again like insurance or bank."
Yes.
They want to acquire new members, using our networks. If they can get someone to buy, even the latest one, there's a marketplace for selling motorbike. They said if you there's a motorbike, if someone buy the motor from your outlets because seeing your advertisement, the warung makan can get an incentive as well.
That's
so
nice,
that's something interesting, right?
Yeah. And it's good. It's very impactful as well in terms of the warung makan owners actually getting more and more revenue, additional revenue, right?
True. So
you are actually giving back to the community as well.
Exactly.
So this is a very very good startups. I really appreciate that you gave us the opportunity to invest in this.
Likewise, we are very happy to have Indogen as our shareholder as well.
And then, Peter, in terms of, I just want to understand a little bit your sort of like behind the desk work. In terms of working with brands, what has been your typical pitch when you present to them? Because in my limited knowledge, you need to come with different value proposition.
Correct.
When you pitch to different brands. Yeah. Do you usually present your successful use case before, or do you more towards asking about their objectives first? So how do you approach? What's your secret sauce so far? Because you have been working with a handful of brands and backed by a very strong shareholders like Coca-Cola.
Right. So actually, this is the beauty of my past experience of working in agency. Actually, just for sharing, before this Wahyoo, I was in the branding industry, right? Before we present, we need to understand our clients, So we are doing our own research. We really want to impress with our presentation and communications. That's the objective, right? So of course, before we approach the brands, we usually doing our own research. We really want to look like how big is the company, like what's their pain problem, how we can solve, how we can support them using our own like unique selling proposition. Like Wahyoo, we have a network for micro segments, like how we can using our network to help these brands, and and then of course, like you mentioned. We usually bring like a success story, like maybe not only in our case, but maybe we can have some referral study case from outside. So because we always bring with the solutions. We're not only like hard selling, but we are like a partner that can bring value to that company. Actually, that's the most important. So the idea is actually how to make the first meeting is very effective. That's the goal, actually. So it's really great if you can seal the deal in the first meeting. But I know it's quite rare. But at least if you can seal, usually if you seal the deal like 5 meetings, how about if you can compress 2 meetings, you shake hand. 3 meetings, that's the longest meeting ever, right? So at least 2 meetings, we can shake hand, we can close the deal. So yeah, because we live in the time is very important, right?
Yes, yeah, we have to act really fast.
We really want to work fast. Yeah.
All right, and then Chandra, in terms of, I think we both know that from our day-to-day work that we like to bridge the partnership between the corporation and the startups.
Yes.
Chandra, in our work at Indogen Capital, we both know that we double down a lot on our portfolio management.
Yes.
Trying to understand what the startup needs, trying to understand what the corporate needs, and then we are trying to become the pipe in the middle to make sure that the partnership is successful. I just want to touch upon a little bit, because you have a lot more experience on this one. What are some of the steps that goes into the process of this partnership, particularly when you are working with a traditional corporation from Indonesia? What are some of the secret sauce that you are open to disclose so that when we bridge the partnership between the startup and corporations, it can come to the fruition for both of the stakeholders?
Yes, so usually then I have to really learn about the startup first, and for me it's very exciting as well. I really enjoy the process, right? I need to really understand like how many warung Peters actually serve right now, right? What kind of capability they can deliver, they can bring to the table. So I'm usually will communicate constantly with the founders as well. And from there, then I will study the pain of the corporations, right? Because I don't want to just set up a WhatsApp group and then just connect between the corporations and the founders, because it's going nowhere from there, right? They just being there because they are nice to me, right? So eventually, then usually the corporations doesn't understand why should I work with these startups, and the startups usually probably will not really understand the pain from that corporations. So after understanding the startups business, right, and what they can bring to the corporations, then we don't want to force the relationship. So usually then I will go with the corporations to understand the pain. What do they need? What can we help? Because there are many things that actually can be helped through startup partnerships. And the most common mistake that the general corporations think about is they think that working with startups is going to be expensive, waste of money, and etc. Which is actually the other way around. Working with startups will provide you a chance to do trial and error, right? Because the startups are actually very open-minded as well in terms of finding the right angle and collaborations to actually to make their business idea actually can work, right? So they are bright-minded individuals, right? Very innovative, and they can actually give you so many insights, inputs that your internal team probably cannot think about at all, never thought about. So it's bringing new energy actually to the corporations. That's number one first, bringing new energy, fresh ideas, right? Making you to think beyond your competitions, right? So because you always have to find an edge with your competitions, right? And then you can find the edge by working with startups, the right startups, of course, right? And from there, once you get all the ideas, usually the startups will be more than happy to do trial for you for free, right? Even for free, right? I'm not saying that it's going to be for free for Wahyoo, but I just say that usually they will give free trial, say a month or 2 months, right, to make sure that it's really working for you. Once it's has been verified to really work for you, then you can slowly move with whatever level that you are very comfortable with. So I'm not saying that let's say Wahyoo have 8,000 eateries or warung makan, you immediately have to go to 8,000. No, you can pick and choose based on their data, the massive data, which one actually will work best for you. So it's a very, I think, profitable connections for corporations. Yeah, in terms of efficiency, budgeting, right, creativity, right, bringing new energy to have the edge with the competitions. So it's something that they can reach out to Wahyoo to learn. Then after that, have to be very open-minded in accepting ideas and just start kicking up the projects. Don't wait anymore. Okay, and we at Indogen Capital, we want to really help with the bridging part, meaning that we understand because from my past experience handling family business, so I understand what is the expectation from the corporations, their struggle as well, also the reasons. For example, like if you are the marketing directors, then probably you have to looks good in order to get promotions, of course. And our task is actually not only to help the startups, not only to help the corporation, also to make you looks good, so you'll be able to be promoted. So that's why it's not that easy. So it's very important. You have to work in details. There are many efforts we have to spend, many dinners, many meetings that we have to go along, and by doing that, then we can make sure that actually the collaborations really will be beneficial for both parties.
Got it. And I think it leads me up to my next questions. I think for both of you, I just want to listen from each of your perspective. From my understanding, my observation, one of the common challenges working with corporations, particularly in Indonesia, is to do the follow-up. Right. You know, usually first meeting goes successful, second meeting goes successful, but the conversion rate is not that huge. And my hypothesis is that there's going to be something wrong within the follow-up process. From each of your experience as an operators and also as an investors who I believe have managed to bridge many partnership, Chandra, within your portfolio companies.
sure.
How do you go about that? Do you have some sort of a secret sauce where you set up, for example, like a dedicated team to help the follow up, or is there any specific nuances that goes into that process to make sure that everything that we have initiated doesn't stop after the third meeting or doesn't stop after the fourth meeting?
Yeah. Yeah, interesting question. So actually, like you mentioned, we definitely have a dedicated team. For example, in Wahyoo, we have a partnership team, and each of partnership team, we have like 5 persons in our partnership team, and each of our team member, they have their own accounts, our company that they serve. So yeah, we have dedicated team for sure. For following up the partnership or collaboration with the brands, but I think the most important is first we need to see who's the decision maker. That's the most important. Who's the decision maker, and then the second one, we need to convince this decision maker, like why they need to go. They need to make decision fast. Why they need us? Why? How we can help them or support them to achieve their objective.
True.
So I think if we already see who is the decision maker, and then we already convinced, I think the rest it's will be easier.
Yeah, for me, I think it's most importantly we have to be able to bring value first, right? So failure cannot be forced, right? Sometimes it's not there yet. It's not like it's not going to happen. It's just not there yet. So some of the potential connections that we want to connect between the startups and the corporations sometimes just doesn't happen because it's just not the right time, just not the right opportunity, and we don't want to push the corporation as well. So we want them to be comfortable. Like I mentioned before, my task is to make sure that it's going to be beneficial for both parties, right? For the startups, for the corporations, and if there's a, say, PIC, make the PIC looks good, so he or she will be promoted, right? So that's my goal, right? So because by doing that, then we will be very close, working together, and there will be trust, mutual trust and respect as well, going long way towards the future collaborations. That's my goal, and so we want to not only benefiting both corporations and the startups, but also the PIC as well. And internally at Indogen, we have a way to control things as well. So we assign a dedicated team members actually for each project. And from that, for every Friday, then we want to see the progress. And the team members will update us with the progress. And if there is no progress, then the team member will be in trouble, right? Because we will complain to him. So you are assigned on this task, and then why there is no update, new updates, new progress, right? And usually they will chase me for the entire week, saying that, hey, maybe you need to check again, to check back with the corporations to see what's holding up, what's going on, what do they need, right? So I've been very careful as well in terms of when I try to approach the corporations. I want to really understand, okay, what is the reasons behind the hold up, right? So maybe they're not comfortable, the budget is not there or something like that. And if the budget is not there, then we find a way actually to still doing collaborations, because sometimes the budget is not there because they are just not being convinced that it's going to really beneficial for the corporations, right? It's not really that the budget is not there. It's just not, the budget hasn't been approved, right? Because they're not convinced, right? So from there, then our task is actually to make sure that they can see the value. So if there is a value we can bring, I'm very confident that the corporations really also want to work with the startups. So that's the part where we want to make sure that you as corporations becoming very comfortable with the collaborations.
I feel that I should have asked these questions from early on. Actually, it's supposed to be my first questions. So let me take a step back a little bit. Why do you think that corporations need to work with startups?
Yeah, I think before Pak Chandra mentioned a lot, and I think I just want to add. I have a lot of a list of answer actually regarding that. So first, I think accelerate innovations, right? I think in startup innovation, it's the key, right? And as a big corporate, you also need an innovation, right? And in startup, we can accelerate in terms of innovations. The second, I think, accelerate about go-to-market, right? For example, like Wahyoo, with our network, we can accelerate your brands or your product, your service to our market.
Yes.
And our market is, we really close with our market, right? And I think the third one is the most interesting is about how to talking about culture. Yeah, you learn because culture in a corporate is definitely different in startup cultures.
Yeah.
How we can learn each other, you know, how corporate can learn about startup culture and how startup also maybe can learn in what's going on in corporate, right? But again, cross culture is important as well, right? Actually, regarding culture, a lot of like big brands sometimes keep asking me to share about startup cultures. And then the third one, I think, like Pak Chandra already mentioned, is mitigation risk. Yeah, about how with our what we are doing, actually, it can help the big corporate. They don't need to do the same thing because we already do the things, right? So we kind of looks like they're outsourced, you know, so like outsourced, right? I think the number 5, this is very interesting because sometimes big corporations or big brands, they're really into, if they're very interested with the startup, sometimes they want to doing acquisitions.
Yes.
So I think this typical collaboration is part of the due diligence as well.
That's true.
Like you want to know the deal, you want to know the team, you want to know how they work, and then you can see the result first.
Yes.
You can
see the value, right?
You can see the values first. So yeah, I think number 5 is about like due diligence before you are doing the company acquisition. And number 6, I think startup is really relate with trendsetter. You know, like we know what the trend in the market, and then I still remember the marketing director of Unilever. They said, if you want to know the big things, you just see who's the big things in startup. You know, who's the potential startup. They know the potentials. You know, and I think the last one is about marketing PR. You know, sometimes. CSR, you know, you collaborate with startup, meaning you support giving an opportunity.
And to warung makan as well, right?
Yes. I think, yeah, that's a lot of list that I can answer your questions regarding how, why big corporations or big brands need to collaborate with startup.
Amazing.
All right, Peter. And then if you can share us a little bit about what are some of your past successful collaboration with corporations? Maybe 1 or 2 use cases for our audience.
Okay, I think this is interesting. Again, allow me to speak about Coca-Cola again, because I respect brands that believe with us, right? And then Coca-Cola really believe with us because they need our channels to distribute their product. Right, you know, they have like Coke, they have like Fanta, Sprite, even they have tea, mineral waters.
Yes.
Those products is really suitable with our market, right? And then we have a product that really suitable with their brands.
True.
We have fried chicken. Can you imagine like combining fried chicken with Coke? That's the best, right?
Best.
We have fried duck combining with their tea. That's also a perfect match. So and they can also using us to penetrate the micro sector. So if you go to some of our warung, you can see red refrigerator of red chiller with brands Coca-Cola and Wahyoo. So I think it's a very powerful, right? So to give trust to our network as well.
Yeah, and I believe maybe Coca-Cola also gathering data, right? From the buyer purchase habit and so many things, right? So they get the data from you, right?
Yes, true. So they can get the data in which location, like how many bottles in the day, like the typical of which warung makan style, because we have a lot of types, you know. So those data is really valuable.
Yeah, it's very valuable in terms of setting up the marketing strategy and also the distribution strategy, because you will be able to see, like, for example, like for this ticket size or check size, then usually people will typically be able to buy Coca-Cola. But for big check size, then probably people just buy iced tea, right?
Right.
So you'll be more accurate in terms of doing distributions by having those data, and they have the edge compared to the competitions, the rest of the competition. So this is a very nice, examples that you gave us. Thank you, Peter.
Yes, likewise.
So we're almost running out of time, guys. I think before we close our session today, just want to listen from each of you another 2 questions. The first one is just want to listen your closing thoughts coming from your perspective as an operators and also standard perspective as an investors. And that will lead to my final questions, which is what's new from Wahyoo this year and what's new from Indogen Capital this year? Maybe start with you first, Peter.
Yeah, I think, again, first of all, thanks for the opportunity. I think this is a very good session, which is we know startup need knowledge, need support, need economic scale of big corporations. And the other way around, corporate need us in terms of innovations, culture, and also how we can support within our strengths. So I'm very open for any collaborations. That's my statement. How we can support you, how Wahyoo can make your company bigger than before, using our network, using our capability, and using our innovations. Then, and regarding innovations, I think it will lead to your second question, actually, what we are gonna do by this year maybe. So we will launch our private labels, and also we will launch our micro cloud kitchen. So those 2 is actually our focus by this year. Why? Because in our network we have thousands of idle kitchen. We can use those kitchen actually to create our own brands, such as ayam goreng bikin tajir and bebek goreng bikin tajir. And we also want to launch nasi box actually. It's a rice box and very affordable. It's like a $1 meal. Using the kitchen of our partners. And we can combine with your product. So this private label can combine with your product as well. The second one, we can utilize this idle kitchen also for your brand to closer with your target customer. Why? We are everywhere. So your product we can help to distribute to closer your target audience. And I think we need your support if you have any kind of product related with F&B. I'm very open. If you have fresh meats, FMCG, spices, or anything to support the warung makan owner to be more prosperous, we are very open and happy to explore. Thank you.
Yeah, and then I think maybe even like you mentioned before, like if they even do other brands not related to F&B, like selling motorcycles, even they can reach out to you, right? Because you have a really awesome networks where they can actually have the warung makan owners or the eateries owners actually to become your channel to actually to find sales, right?
True.
Yeah, there are many things that we haven't thought about, but maybe you have think about it. So maybe you can drop comments below, and then maybe you can reach out to Indogen Capital or maybe to Peter directly, and then we'll be able to discuss that with you, and then maybe we can find maybe a strategic partnerships together, right? Yeah. And then thank you very much, Peter, for having these sessions with us. Really appreciate your time, right? And for me, my final message will be, if you are from corporations watching this segment, and then you are actually thinking about doing collaborations, don't hesitate, okay? Because again, we are very open-minded in terms of we'll give free trials, we will help you with the design thinking, with the strategy, right? Everything is free, so feel free to reach out, and then we are happy to talk over to find angles for collaborations, and that's exactly what Indogens want to do for this year. For this year, we are very eager to find collaborations, to bridge collaborations between startups from Indonesia to corporations. That's why we have become an active partners of Japanese trade organizations. We have been helping Korean trade associations as well, and we are helping many big corporations actually to find corporate innovations, right? And it's everything comes very efficiently, right? Very affordable. So don't worry about it. We will try to help you to find corporate innovations actually, and it's going to give you an edge with your competitors. Thank you.
All right, guys, so we now have come to the end of our sessions. So thank you, guys, for making it in today's episode. And hopefully there are key takeaways that you can get from our session, and see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.